Hello and welcome to this workshop hosted by Farside Solutions for the Women's Business Conference. Very excited to be here today and can't wait to take you through the training that we have. So my name is Tamryn. I am the founder and CEO of the Farside Group. Farside Group currently consists of Farside Solutions. We do accounting and business development solutions all over the world, but we are based in South Africa and the UK. Farside Business Builder, which is our monthly business club for small business owners, and Farside Foundations, our non-profit organization in South Africa with a focus of helping the women of South Africa build their future. It's been a long and hard road for me to get here today. And in order to bring you up to speed a little, I made a video for you because staring at my face while I speak is not quite as much fun as staring at cartoons. So let's have a look at that quickly.
Hi, my name is Tamryn and I am the founder and CEO of the Farside Group. I started Farside in 2007 at the age of 25, young, bright-eyed, and quite frankly, dumb. I believed in hard work and wasn't scared to go all in on business building. I thought that if I was good at accounting, I would be good at running an accounting business. And I couldn't be more wrong. Because there is a lot more to running a business than simply being good at your profession. It did not take me long to be overwhelmed with the roles, responsibilities, duties, and pressures of being a business owner. I went through burnout without even recognizing what it was, and my response to everything was to just work harder. I really believed that if I just got one more client, one more project, one big break, then things would get better. Which is why, in 2015, I was dumb enough to open a second business with a friend of mine. Now, I was 100% responsible for Farside and 50% responsible for the Munching Mongoose. Eventually, after 2 years of 14-hour work days, 7 days a week, and the resulting bad eating habits, bad sleeping habits, and general breakdown of all things personal, I sat down at my computer to work and just burst into tears. And I proceeded to cry off and on for a week. Eventually, I accepted the fact that I needed to take a step back and change something. I had a couple of changes happen all at once in my life, so I ended up handing Munching Mongoose to my awesome friend and partner at the same time that my husband and I chose to pack all of our belongings up into a storage unit and go on the road. We had plans to be nomadic for 6 months. That 6 months turned into 4 years that we loved. That nomadic life started my journey of healing from burnout and gave me the ability to rebuild my life. The interesting thing was that I noticed when I stayed in chalets, guest houses, or hotels, despite the comfort of our surroundings, I was mentally and emotionally down. But when we stayed in a campsite, I found myself feeling lighter, happier, and just coping better with my day-to-day. Now, at the time, I had no idea why this was the case. I just found myself wanting to spend more and more time in a tent. When COVID stopped our travels and I was able to look back, I realized that I felt better in a campsite because camping forced specific behavioral changes on me. And those changes were beneficial to my mental, emotional, and physical health. Now, I actually teach those behavioral changes to other business owners suffering from burnout. And yes, you can implement the changes in a city. You don't have to go live in a tent. These behavioral changes led to healing. And this healing led me to be able, for the first time in years, to actually step back and assess my business and the way I did things. That is what resulted in me having 3 major mindset shifts. And those 3 mindset shifts resulted in me creating the framework that I use to rebuild my business from the ground up. And today, I am sharing those mindsets and framework with you.
Okay, so that is how I got to this point. And today we're going to look at preventing burnout in you. But to do that, we need to start with what burnout is. Burnout is far more common than people realize. It happens in 78% of business owners. The reason it is so common is because, like I said in my video, it's hard to recognize. I went through burnout 3 times without recognizing, or twice without recognizing it. Third time, I recognized what I was going through. And that's because burnout looks a lot like stress. But actually, stress is one of its 3 causes. So burnout is caused by having too much work or too much responsibility. So not necessarily workload, but the feeling of being responsible for things combined with too few resources to actually meet those responsibilities and prolonged stress. So when you have these 3 things in combination, you are going to go through burnout. And the best way to combat burnout is to deal with the causes directly. So back in August, I ran a 4-week workshop all about preventing burnout and dealing with burnout. And if you need more information on how to recognize burnout and the steps that you can follow to stop it, please pop into our stand in the virtual exhibition hall and chat to us about it, and we can share that burnout series with you. But today, we are going to look specifically at how to build a business that helps you to prevent burnout from happening at all. So in the video, I shared about how living in a tent forced specific lifestyle changes on me, and those changes were incredibly beneficial to my mental and physical and general well-being, and how I now teach those steps to others to combat their burnout. But the change that had the biggest impact on where I am today is the fact that I began to open up time for myself. And that time led me to heal and recuperate and rejuvenate. But it also meant that I began to spend more time working on my business instead of in it. And we've all heard about how we need to do this. We all know it. But when you are building a business, it is very easy to just overwork yourself trying to bring in more and more income, and then you just get overwhelmed and burnt out, and it does not leave much time for being strategy minded. But my changes in my lifestyle helped me to reduce the pressure on my time and begin to look at my business. And apart from that, also resting and recuperating and fixing my mind meant that I got excited about my business again. So I wanted to look at it and I wanted to build it. And that meant I could take the time to step back and analyze what I did right and what I did wrong, what I didn't do, and how the entire business could be better. And the result of that was that I went through these 3 major mindset shifts, big shifts in thinking. They completely changed the way I approached business building. So I want to share those mindsets with you because they resulted in my business building framework. So before we share the framework, I should share the mindsets that created it. And the first one seems really obvious when you read it, but working hard will get you nowhere if you're working the wrong way. If, like me, you believe that hard work is the route to success, you're not wrong. It does take a lot of hard work to build a successful business, but you need to work the right way in order for the hard work to actually produce the results that you're looking for. I spent too much time putting out fires, dealing with operational errors, internal tasks, and ironically, too much time chasing new clients, which resulted in more and more work, but more stress as well. And I did not spend enough time on growing and developing the business itself. Now, as I said earlier, we all know we should be working on our businesses, but it's hard to get right because we're not all Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or any other big corporate name you can think of. We don't have an entire corporation of personnel sitting behind us who can handle those operations so we can handle the big picture. We don't sit with a big fat bank account that we can use to pay for help or pay for new systems and processes. So it's very easy to talk about building your business. It's not that easy to actually work on it. But when I made time for myself and I began to heal and my mind began to clear, I did find the time to stop and think, really think about how I was doing things. And I began to rebuild from the ground up. So if there's one thing I can encourage you to do, find time, 10 minutes a week. If that is all you have, take your 10 minutes a week and work on the way you are doing things. Make sure that you are being efficient and productive, not just busy. The second major mindset is to not do it alone. And this one also sounds obvious because the business is not made up of one person. You need a team. But you will be amazed at how many business owners still try and do everything themselves. And I was one of them because I made some really bad hiring and outsourcing decisions right in the beginning, and they backfired, and it was an awful experience. So I convinced myself that if I wanted something done right, I had to do it myself. And this is a terrible mentality to carry as a business owner. It is a bad, bad idea. Because not only is collaboration the way of the future, but doing everything yourself is just a surefire recipe for burnout. And I proved it 3 times. You need a team. You are not invincible, and unfortunately, you are not perfect. You are going to have bad days. You're going to have sick days. You need to take time off for yourself. And no matter how hard you try, you are not going to be good at everything that your business needs. So you need team members. You need people who can do what you can't do. You also need people who can do what you do when you're not in the shape to do it. You need team members who share your values, believe in your vision, and that you can trust to do the work the way you would or better. So if you are currently shouldering everything alone in your business, it is time to think about building a team. Don't do it alone. Find people that you can rely on. You don't have to hire them. Most of my team is actually outsourced, even to this day. I do have employees, but the bulk of our team are contractors. You just need team members. They don't have to be hired. They don't have to be full-time. They just need to be on the same page as you. And my third and final mindset shift was, you are your company's biggest asset. This was actually one of my biggest stumbling blocks when it came to building my business. See, I knew that I didn't know everything I needed to know, but I didn't have the money to pay for a coach or take a course. I didn't have time for a course. Because I was doing everything myself, I just never got there. And this was a real stumbling block. It wasn't in my head. I was too busy and I didn't have the money. These were real challenges, not stumbling blocks I made up. And I kept telling myself, if I got just one more client, just 2 more clients, I'd have enough money to hire a coach or enough money to hire help so that I had time to attend that course. But I found out the hard way that just chasing new customers when you're already tired and overwhelmed, that's disastrous. I also learned the hard way that when you don't look after yourself, it leads to burnout and mental collapse, and that is really bad for business. So I slowly learned to look after me, and I learned that my health is linked to my business health. So, I am an asset to my business, but I still had to learn the value of self-improvement for my business. Then in 2020, when the world changed, the one good thing that happened was that so many courses and coaches and services went online. So I took a deep breath and I tightened my belt and I joined a mentoring group for accountants, specifically for accounting firm owners. And it wasn't cheap. And to be honest, I couldn't afford it. I didn't actually have the money and I didn't have the time to attend. But I realized that if I didn't do something to grow myself, I wasn't going to grow my business. It was the best thing I ever did. 1 year of mentorship revolutionized my business. And more importantly, it revolutionized me. I am not encouraging you to spend money you don't have, and please do not go into debt. But be honest with yourself about your time and your money. There must be ways you can eke out a little bit of each to spend on you, to spend on self-improvement and continuous growth, because you are your greatest asset. You are the one thing you should continually be investing in improving, because the more knowledge you get, the more skills you acquire, the better business owner you become, and the better business you build. So you are your business's biggest and greatest asset. So these 3 mindset shifts. Working hard gets you nowhere without working the right way. Don't do it alone, and invest in yourself and your self-growth. These 3 mindsets resulted in me building a framework that I call the 4 pillars. But because I am a sucker for alliteration, I also call them the 4 P's of business. They are purpose, process, people, and performance. And the reason I refer to these 4 P's as pillars is because when you look at a building, pillars keep the roof up. So you need pillars to be strong, and you need 4 pillars for the vital business success. You can't just have one on its own, and you can't have 3 and one being weak because the roof falls down. So we might build them one at a time. We might spend more time building one than we do the other. We have to do maintenance at different times and at different time lengths. But we can never lose sight of the fact that you need all 4 in place for a strong building and a solid roof. These are the vital building blocks for a successful, profitable, and sustainable business. And even though we need all 4, we start with purpose. The reason is around clarity. Because when you have clarity about your purpose, when you know who you are, why you are doing things, and what you are trying to achieve, it clarifies your end goal. It defines the objective you are trying to achieve. Your objective then defines what your business does. What service do you offer? What product do you create? Who is it for? And a service or product with a specific planned and known outcome needs to be delivered in a specific way, which means that your purpose also dictates how you run your business, right from how your product or service is created, all the way through to how it is marketed, how you look after customers, how you treat staff, and how you ensure quality. So far, your purpose has defined your end goal and your why, what you do, who you do it for, and how you get it done. But your purpose also dictates your company culture, your values, your mission statement, which all in turn will affect who you attract and who you hire. And all of the above, your why, your what, your how, your who, all of these things create milestones and markers for you to track. In other words, you can measure your performance, which means that purpose affects the other three pillars: process, people, and performance. Purpose dictates your entire business, which makes it really important to be clear on what it is. So I would like to direct you to our Farside business channel on YouTube. If you put Farside Solutions into YouTube, you will find us there, and you can go have a look for some training we did back in March called Finding Purpose to Fuel Productivity. In this, which I highly recommend you watch if you have the time, we work through questions that help you define your purpose, help you define your strategy around your purpose. You're also very welcome to contact us, and we'll help you with that process as well. And also, if you pop into our stand at the virtual exhibition hall here at the conference center, look out for the brochure that says thank you for attending our workshop. It is 100% free. It gives you free access to this workshop bundle. In the bundle, I am placing the recording from today's workshop, as well as every single resource I refer to, including this training, Finding Purpose to Fuel Productivity. I will put the training in the bundle and the workbook that comes with it. 100% free, no strings attached. So please do pop into our stand and grab that brochure so that you can grab your bundle. But when you are now working through that workbook and defining your purpose, there are things that you will need to bear in mind. Firstly, purpose must be yours. You can't copy someone else's passion. It must be something that helps you get out of bed in the morning, and that is especially important on tough mornings. It must be honest. People feel bad to admit if their driving purpose is material, like money. But you don't need to impress anybody here. You need to understand what drives you. If you are not honest with yourself and your team, your purpose will fall flat. So be honest when creating your purpose. Remember that your purpose will change. You will not have the same purpose in your 10th year of business that you had in your first year of business. You could have started this business because you lost your job. So your purpose would have been to feed your family. But by the 10th year in business, your purpose could be related to retirement or creating a legacy. It will and it should change as you and your business grow. Purpose does not have to be directly linked to what you do. I come from an extremely non-materialistic family. I recognize the need for money in the world, but it is not something that I personally value. And yet, I run an accounting company. My entire life revolves around helping other people look after and create more money. So when I was going through the height of my burnout and questioning everything I was doing, that dichotomy really bothered me. I battled a lot with this feeling that what I was doing didn't mean anything. And I didn't have to change what I do. I had to change the way I thought about what I do. Because at Farside, yes, we will help you make more money. But it's not about, that's not the reason that we get out of bed in the morning. We love the fact that while helping you make more money, you have a better day today than you did yesterday because of us. We reduce your stress, we help you build a life of freedom, and hopefully we prevent you from going through burnout. Making money is a byproduct. I also found a fantastic way to weave purpose into everyday business transactions through this organization called B1G1. And I do not have time to go into B1G1 in detail here, but this book and the link to B1G1 are in the workshop bundle, so please do go have a look for it. But B1G1 helps you become what they call a business for good by using everyday business transactions to do good in the world. It's really exciting. It's very affordable, and I would encourage you to do it if you are looking to create more of an impact in the world around you. But the point is that your purpose does not have to be directly linked to your product or your service. You just need to know how you fulfill your purpose with this business. It also does not need to be grand, world-changing, or humanitarian. If you sell socks for a living, then linking that to eradicating world hunger is a little bit tricky. But you can, however, be very proud of the fact that you are helping people keep their feet warm. Or you can be proud of the fact that you have helped your staff put their children through university. Or that because of your sock company, hundreds of people have employment in companies that supply you with material and cotton and needles. Purpose doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be world-changing. It can be small. It can be local. It can be personal. It can be simple. It must just be something that drives you and that your team can rally behind and believe in. And lastly, your purpose dictates the rest of your business. So whenever you make a business decision, run it past your purpose and make sure it aligns with you and your values before you say yes. Your purpose funnel will help you to create the right products and services. It helps you to develop the way you deliver them, and it will help you to pick the right people inside and outside your organization to work with. Run everything through the filter of your purpose. The next P is process. Now, when you hear the terms systems and processes, what comes to mind? Because most people almost immediately think of software. But while putting the right software in place is very important, your software merely helps you implement or improve your systems. It isn't the system itself. Think of anything you need to do in your business. Order a product, contact a client, contact a prospective client, take care of a query from an existing client, make a sale, pay your staff, pay your bills. Now think about how you do these things, the steps you take to achieve the end result of each system. For example, when you order a product, you may have the following steps. Step one is that you identify the need. Maybe you did a stock take, or you received an order from a client. Whatever this identification step is, it tells you what you need to buy and how many of each item you need. You then go looking for suppliers. If it's the first time you're ever ordering this item, then you might do a Google search or talk to your network. Or if you've been around for a while, you probably have a list of preferred suppliers that you contact. You then ask them for a quote, probably more than one because you want to compare pricing and timing and make sure that you get the best deal. Then you will accept a quote and create a purchase order. You then send that order and confirm a delivery date. All of the above is your ordering process. It is your system for buying a product. It is the way in which you achieve an outcome. And if you haven't taken the time to sit down and plan your processes, then you may find yourself making a bit of a mess of it. You could skip steps or have to go back and do things twice. You'll forget to do something or have to look it up every time. Systems are clearly defined and replicable processes. You can have good systems or bad systems. Bad systems will be ways of doing things that waste time, cost money, have too many bottlenecks, or potential obstacles. Good systems are efficient, cost-effective, and easy to replicate. Every viable business has a set of defined systems. It can be called something like an operating manual or standard operating procedures or even your employee handbook. But a viable and sustainable business is one that has its processes and systems clearly defined and documented. Why documented? Let's look at a chef. When a chef sets out to create a masterpiece, he creates a recipe. His recipe will detail what he needs to create the dish, and it will lay out the steps he needs to follow in order to create the dish. If he follows his recipe to the letter, he can create the exact same award-winning dish every single time he makes it. On the other hand, if he does not create a recipe and instead he cooks from memory every time, there is a likelihood that he's not going to get the same end result. There's a possibility he could forget an ingredient, something small like a pinch of nutmeg. He could forget a step like sifting the flour before he mixes it in. He could set the oven 10 degrees lower or cook the dish for 10 minutes longer. Now, a good chef will probably produce a really good dish every time, but he will not produce the same dish every time. There will be variations. If he is a bad chef, he's just going to produce multiple disasters. And more importantly, he can never ask another chef to cook it for him. He always has to do it himself. Whereas with a recipe, he can hand it over to someone else. Good systems and processes enable efficiency and growth, which means you can add more chefs and continue to get the same award-winning result. In other words, good systems are scalable. One of the reasons that franchises is so successful is when you buy a franchise, you get a set of standard operating procedures. You receive a manual that tells you how to run this business, and you can simply replicate what is working everywhere else and achieve success. If you take the time to define your systems and processes, you will notice the following benefits for your staff, your products, and the business itself. It is much easier to delegate or outsource a task because people know what to do and how to do it. Your staff members will be able to do their jobs with minimal supervision. In other words, you don't have to micromanage. And there are clearly defined roles and responsibilities, which means there is accountability as well. And if an employee is absent, another member can very easily fill in for them. And it is also extremely easy to do staff training of new members. Your products and services will attain a standardized level of quality. It also makes it a hell of a lot easier to see if you can automate steps in your business, which will save you time and save you money and make you more efficient. And you will have far fewer losses from mistakes and efficiency if you use systems and if you automate your systems. And then your decision making becomes easier and faster. And there is freedom for you, the business owner, to work on your business instead of in it. Good systems enable your business to run without you, without constant interference from management. They make your business streamlined and more productive, and they result in a happier and healthier working environment. By letting systems do the work for you, you free up your time to work on your business, improve your strategy, and then assess the efficiency of your systems. So good systems make a business more profitable. And one of the best things you can do, both for your business and for yourself, to prevent burnout is to have standard operating procedures. If you need help developing yours, if you don't know where to start, please go grab our workshop bundle. There is a how-to PDF there, how to create systems that we were sharing with you. And if you work through that, you will be able to create systems for every section of your business. I very much encourage you to do this. As I said earlier, if you only have 10 minutes a week, use those 10 minutes to work on your business. And if you've sorted your purpose, then your next step is your process. Because as much time as it takes to create these, and it does take time to create your standard operating procedures, it will save you time in the long term, and it will enable your company's success. Which leads to the third P, people. My second biggest mindset shift was that I couldn't do this alone, because you don't have a business if you're doing everything in it. You're just self-employed. And quite frankly, you're a bad boss. It took 4 years for me to recover from my burnout. And over those 4 years, I slowly found myself relying more and more on other people. And I delegated and outsourced work and gave away the things I didn't enjoy or wasn't particularly good at. And I slowly discovered the freedom and power that there is in being able to focus on your work, safe in the knowledge that all the other work is being done. So this is something that crystallized for me in 2020. Due to workload and changes in where and how we were working and all sorts of things, I developed an issue with my hands in 2020, which the doctor initially thought was carpal tunnel, and then it turned out it was something similar to carpal tunnel. And the upshot of it all was that I basically had to stop using my hands as much as possible for a couple of months. I mean, you can't not use them at all, but for 2 months I was not able to write or type, which involves a large portion of my work. Now my work is very important to me. I enjoy what I do. I take it very seriously. I did not like the fact that I was not able to be involved in helping my clients and getting things done. I really found that hard to bear. So I was already anxious and I was already a bit depressed. And then I came down with the flu. So now I woke up with this fuzzy brain. It was bad flu. It was COVID time. Couldn't think straight, couldn't work, couldn't do anything on top of the hand issue. And I remember sitting there just feeling so anxious and scared and depressed. It was month end. We had, management reports due and VAT returns due and deadlines with a capital D. And I was just panicking. And then I realized I was panicking out of habit. I had a team. And I sat down and I messaged them all and I'm like, I'm sorry, but on top of my hand issue now, I can't think. I've got this flu and my brain's not working and I can't work this week. And I remember very clearly how those feelings of despair just lifted with every message that came rolling in. I mean, I had a whole bunch of messages from my team, but they all came down to one central idea, which was, don't worry, we've got this. And they did. They did. For an entire week, I lay in bed, drugging myself on flu medication and sleeping it off. And for an entire week, my business ran without me. My staff made deadlines, they got returns in, they kept customers happy. Everything happened without ever anyone having to come to me. And it's been a long journey to where I have that team. But that day, that week, I learned the power of a team. It's one of those things we hear how important a team is. I've mentioned it multiple times in this training. You're going to hear it multiple times from other speakers and in other business books. People will talk about a team, and we know that having a team is important. And I knew that in my head. I mean, that's why I built one. But that week, I learned and experienced the power of a team, the power of having someone or someone's who will run without you when you can't be there. And it takes time to build a team like that. But if you are busy running your business alone, then the best thing you can do for yourself is to begin building a team. You don't have to hire them. You can outsource, you can partner, you can collaborate. But when building your team, you do need to do the following. Choose character. Technical knowledge of how to do a job is very important, but it can be taught. Honesty, integrity, reliability, accountability, those things are not so easy to teach. So choose character. Choose values. Remember your purpose? Your purpose is the filter that you view every single decision through, including hiring. So you want to work with people who share your values and who are also excited by your purpose. Choose collaborators. You don't want to work with glory hogs. You must be prepared to hand out appreciation everywhere it is due. But when choosing who to work with, look for people who are humble and team-orientated. Choose diversity. And despite the picture, I don't actually mean diversity in race and gender. You should be doing that anyway, but you shouldn't really notice those at all in your hiring process. But by diversity, I mean you need team members who can do what you can't do, who approach things differently and who think differently. Because if you fill a team with people exactly like you will just continue to have the same gaps in knowledge, the same personal failures, and the same blind spots that you have now. You need a team that complements you, not duplicates you. Then, once you have your dream team, look after them. Be quick to praise and slow to criticize. People appreciate being appreciated. Pay for value, not qualifications or market-related nonsense like experience in years in a job. Pay them according to the value they bring to your organization. And remember that you get what you pay for. So do not make the mistake of hiring cheap. It costs you way more in the end, I can promise you. Be clear with your instructions and nudge nudge systems. But make sure you have clear employment contracts, clear roles and responsibilities, and clear manuals on what to do. Make it pleasant for them to work for or with you. Happy workers produce better work than unhappy ones. One of the ways you can do this is to be interested in helping them achieve their personal goals. They might want to study further or move up in their career. They might be worried about putting a child through school or looking after a sick parent. You are in a position to help people achieve personal goals. And if you do, you encourage them to help you achieve your business goals. Constantly evaluate performance, not so that you can tell them that they're failing, but so that you can help them improve. If you identify gaps in the knowledge, provide training. If you identify roles they aren't comfortable in, remove them from that role and identify a role where they thrive. But evaluate performance and give feedback. Listen. Your team are the ones implementing your purpose and your processes. They are the ones on the ground. Listen to their feedback. Use it when you are evaluating performance and when you are deciding on strategy. Use their feedback when you are assessing your business and working out how to improve. And listen to their hopes and dreams and help them work toward their happiness. And most importantly, do not let them burn out. This entire workshop is about building a business that prevents burnout. It should prevent it in your employees and your team as well. Make sure you have the systems and processes in place that reduce pressure on your people and your resources. Because happy team members will do a good job. They take care of customers better, and they ultimately make your company far more successful than grumpy, unhappy, unfulfilled team members. So take care of them. And I want to repeat that you do not have to hire in order to build a team. I am a massive fan of outsourcing, particularly if your cash flow is tight. I am a fan to the point that I wrote this little ebook. It's not very long and it's quick to read. It is in the workshop bundle. Please go and grab it. But it's all about building a team, leveraging the power of outsourcing. And outsourcing is really powerful for business growth, particularly when your cash flow is tight, because it is cheaper to use a virtual assistant for 8 hours a month than to hire a PA. It is cheaper to use an accounting firm like Farside to handle your entire financial function than to hire a bookkeeper. So if you have time to read it, please, please, please grab the book, read it. I promise you, it will help you to build a team, particularly at times when you don't have the money to hire. And our fourth and final pillar is performance. Now, performance has, I think, 3 components to it. Because performance is about looking at your business as though it were a machine. And a machine has 2 sections, should we say, that are related to the performance of a machine. We look at something like a warehouse machine that is producing lids for toothpaste tubes. There are 2 performance issues you need to pay attention to. Number 1, is it doing what it was created for? Is it making the lids for the toothpaste tubes, and how fast and how many and all of that? But there is a second part of it, is the internal quiet processing of the machine. Are all the cogs in place? Are they turning? Is everything running the way that it should? That is performance, and what you should bear in mind regarding the performance of your business. It's not just the flashy numbers, it's everything. Which is why part of performance is compliance, then planning, and then measurement. Now, compliance is by far the most boring of the 3, but it's not unimportant, because no matter where you are in the world, there will be legal requirements placed on you by your governing authority. If you are the director of a company, then there will be some form of Companies Act that you have to comply with. And with it will be a list of duties, roles, and responsibilities that need to be fulfilled by the shareholders and the board members of the business. Linked to that, you will need to know and understand all of the legal acts that affect your business: privacy, labor, and tax requirements of your governing authority. And in addition to legal requirements, there is a principle of good governance. You need to run the business ethically and according to sound principles. So, as part of your personal development, take the time to learn the principles of good governance and the duties of a director so that you can implement those principles in your business. Because part of keeping a business running involves all the admin that hums along in the background. Things like bookkeeping and record keeping, document storage, how and where you store private information, payroll and HR, cybersecurity, business continuity, fraud protection. All of the boring things that have to be in place for a business to function effectively. So you need to make time to know and understand your compliance, and you need to be sure that you have the systems in place to keep you compliant and running smoothly. And then there is planning. Because in order for your business to perform, you need to know your end goal. Now, your purpose helps you define your end goal, but you still need to sit down and plan how to get there. You need to work out what has to happen in your business in order for you to achieve what you consider to be success. And we will do more planning when we're creating the purpose pillar, but there is still definite crossover to the performance pillar because there can't be performance without a plan. You need your direction and you need to know your markers along the way, specific things that signal to you as to whether or not you are on the right path and whether or not you are achieving what you've set out to achieve. So it is very important that you set time in your schedule to plan. It doesn't have to happen as often as your business evaluation and your systems evaluation, but you should have planning sessions throughout the year. And then, in order to know whether or not your plans are working, you need to measure the results. You need a way to measure your success. So you need to constantly be measuring the performance of your business and checking that you are on track and able to achieve the goals you have set for yourself. Measuring involves measuring financial success. Are you increasing your income? More importantly, are you increasing your profit? And do you have a healthy cash flow? Measuring relational success. Are you keeping your customers happy? Are you keeping your staff happy? Are your suppliers happy? Measuring professional success. Are you keeping up with your industry? Are you doing a good job at what you do? Are you ready for disruptions and changes? Are you compliant? Personal success. Are you growing? Are you achieving work-life balance or work-life integration? Are you able to meet your personal needs, and do you have an exit plan? And measuring environmental success. Are you having a good or a bad effect on the world around you? You should be measuring all of these things at regular intervals to make sure that you are on track to meet your goals and to achieve what you consider to be success. In order to do this successfully, you need to identify what needs measuring, how those things can be recorded, and then you need mechanisms for those records to be visually represented in a way that you understand. So I would recommend chatting to your accountant about how you can set performance management in place, performance reporting, so that you can see the tracking of your measurement of your goals on a regular basis. If you make the time to work on the 4 pillars and get them in place and make them strong, I promise you, you will build a resilient and sustainable business that can support you instead of you supporting it. And it can help you create the freedom you thought you were going to have when you opened it. I also promise that you do not have to do this overnight. Embrace the power of scheduling. Just make sure that you have put on your calendar every single week. You have scheduled time to work on your business. Again, if you've only got 10 minutes a week, schedule your 10 minutes a week. Make sure that they happen. Use your 10 minutes and review your business. Go through the pillars one by one, making sure you are building them and keeping them strong. And if you are feeling a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start, I recommend this order. Purpose, because you need it to filter the view of everything else. Everything else will be put against the purpose for you to know whether it is the right decision or not. So start with purpose. If you've heard of Simon Sinek, then you know that he says start with why. It's the same principle. Start with purpose. Then look at process. Because before you bring people into your business, you need to be clear on what you want them to do, how you want them to do it, and how that is linked to the purpose. Then we bring in people, because you can't build a one-man army and call it a business. You need a team. You need a team who aligns with your purpose and who either agrees with your processes or helps you improve them. And then you take a look at the performance and you work on creating a smooth running machine. And the most important thought that I want to leave you with is to remind you about the third mindset. You are your company's biggest asset. So in order to build the pillars, build yourself. Invest your time and your money in growing you and in self-improvement. A reminder, please pop into the Farside stand where you can get the special bundle for this workshop, all of the resources that I've mentioned, plus this recording, plus contact details for me and for Farside. It is 100% free. You just give us your email address and we'll make sure you have your login and password. And in addition to the resources I've already mentioned, there's also this one, which is a book I highly recommend, called Boss It by Carl Reeder. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We're not giving you the book. I would love to, but then I couldn't make the workshop bundle free. But what we are giving you is a link to our review of the book so you can see what it's about. And on that review, there is the link for the Kindle version, which is extremely affordable. It is a wonderful book. It is logical and it lays out the foundations of business building for you. And it's really worth investing in. If you are starting to look at improving yourself, this is where I recommend you start. If you are not a big reader, then I would love to invite you to come join us in the Farside Business Builder. It's our monthly membership club. We provide weekly training aligned to a monthly theme, and we bring in experts to train you in various topics. There's resources and special offers and even some networking in the Business Builder. So there's more information about that in the bundle as well. But I would love it if you came and joined us. There's a 30-day free trial, so you can try us out without worrying about spending money. Another thing we've put in the bundle for you is our quiz. If you are not sure if you are burning out or just stressed, then you can take this quiz. It's 100% free as well, and it will give you an idea of where you are in your business building journey with regards to burnout. And lastly, there is the link to our free Facebook community, which I would love to have you come and join. It is new and a bit small at present, but if you come and join, you will find support and comfort from us and your fellow business owners. We try and put something helpful in the group at least twice a week, a tip or a trick or a useful article or a concept, something you can use to build a business without sacrificing your mental health. And we love to see people interact in the group. So come voice your fears, ask for help, offer help, ask your questions. It's a safe place, and I'd love to see you there. So all of these links that I've mentioned are in the PDF available at our virtual stand. Please come and say hello. There's also tips about practical implementation and a little bit of extra resources that I put in there, and everything that you need to know about building a business without burning out. Otherwise, please send your questions, queries, concerns, everything to us. I would love to hear from you. If you are busy building a business and you want some help or you want some guidance, I really love to meet with people and chat about their business. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop today. If you have any questions, any queries, please send them through tamryn@thefarside.com. Please pop into our stand at the virtual exhibition hall. We would love to meet you. I'd love to be in contact. You can have a chat or book a meeting, and please make sure that you go and grab the brochure for this event. It says thank you for attending our workshop, and that will give you access to the bundle with the recording, this recording, and with all the resources that I've shared here in today's workshop. So all the PDFs and the links and the books and everything that you need to build a business that prevents burnout is in that bundle, completely free for you, no strings attached. So please go grab that PDF and connect with us. And I wish you all the best with building a business that supports you.